All right, guys, welcome back to Prospect Channels TV. Thank you for always coming out here. My people, this one shocked me. Hey, a Nigerian senator asking to bring back Biafra map. Senator don't warn the consequences if this do not happen. My people, I'm not going to talk too much. Make I drop the video, make we watch them together. But if today is your first time of coming out here, please kindly subscribe to this channel, share this video, make it go viral so that Nigerians could understand what they happen. Thank you. Let's get there. I will be right back.
Nobody has a right to erase a name, Bite of Biafra from the map. If it's Bite of Biafra, put it back on the map. You have no right to take Bite of Biafra off the map, put it back on the map, and let's fix our problem.
We felt Biafra will rise again. This was the statement made by a vice president of Nigeria to Senator Bruce. I'll play the video. One of the greatest challenge Nigeria had, or one of their problems, was that after the Biafra civil war that ended in 1970, they continued with the war. They tried to do everything possible to silence the Biafrans. They want to know if they can erase them from the surface. They want to know if they can cover it up. But lo and behold, you can't just cover it up. It's impossible. And today again, here is it. Biafra is here again, standing before them. I can tell you honestly, one of the major problems Nigeria had today is Biafra issue. And I can assure you, the earlier they settle it, the better for them. Forget about some people will tell you, forget about Biafra. If you know the capacity, if you know the weight of Biafra, you give it attention. Forget about people that will talk down on it. Buhari came the other day. Buhari said that we are adults. We are adults. Even some Igbo people will tell you Biafra is not a problem. These are people that do not know their left from their right. If you know what Biafra stands for, Nigeria government. If you don't know, Nigeria government, they know it. You know, it's a case of Biafra issues. Like it's a case of you not knowing who you are, but your enemy knows who you really are. That's what it takes. You know, some people in life don't even know what they are, but their enemy knows who they are, or let me say their neighbor knows who they are. Some people see them, people will be like, because of their the way they've conditioned or the way they've programmed, they are not like the people that knew who they really are. Will tell you, you see these guys, forget it. That is exactly the situation of Nigeria and Biafra. How many years ago now? It's over 50 years. The issue is still very fresh, as if it's just yesterday. So the problem now is, whose fault? Of course, it's Nigerians' fault. They keep the marginalization. They keep doing everything possible, both spiritual, both physical. Today you can see it walking on the street. Go to Nigeria, you can see the marginalization. You can see everything walking on the street of Nigeria. It's written everywhere. It's written everywhere. It's both in religion, both in economical, both in commerce, both in finance. It's everywhere. Everywhere. And then you tell me Biafra, you just leave Biafra. I laugh at you. You that is saying leave Biafra. The earlier Nigerian does the right thing, the better for them. And I think the best thing is to just allow them to go. Just restore Biafra. Then maybe Nigeria will start talking of how to walk. Otherwise, forget it. Nigeria walking without Biafra, feast. Forget it. Listen to Senator Bruce, then maybe you understand me better.
I want to thank you all for bringing this very, very important debate on the floor of the National Assembly. But I take a different perspective to what has happened here. You have to go back in history to understand why there was a civil war in the first place, and 50 years later, why the same people are agitating for independence. In 66, we had the first coup, where it was alleged that the Igbos wiped out northern leaders in the military. Second coup, Gawan took over, and there was a lot of bloodshed, killing the Igbos. Igbos were killed in the north. They moved back to eastern Nigeria. Ojukwu became head of state, declared a nation called Biafra. The war started. We fought for 3 years. The war was over, and southeastern Nigeria and eastern Nigeria, as it was called, was integrated into Nigeria. That is the background. Now, when the war was over, I asked the vice president of Nigeria a fundamental question. There are two questions asking. One, why did you erase the bite of Biafra from the map of Nigeria? And he said that at the Supreme Military Council meeting, they felt Biafra would rise again. And so the federal government at the time did everything possible not to talk about the war in Nigeria. So from 1970 to the present, a generation of Nigerians who were born did not know we had a civil war. And I know a lot of young people who do not know Nigeria fought the war. This policy of being an ostrich and not addressing issues is counterproductive. If you lived in America, you know you had the Vietnam War, which happened at the same time as the Nigerian Civil War. You had the Korean War, you had the First World War, you had the Second World War. You have all kinds of wars. And they talk about it all the time. If you watch the Discovery Channel, you can see all the wars in the world. And the reason they televise these wars is so that you can learn from the mistakes of others, so that you do not become a fool and make the same mistakes and fight again. And so here we are 50 years later, talking about something that could have been avoided if the federal government at the time understood the value of history. So one, we erased the Civil War from our consciousness. So a generation of people do not know we fought the war or why we fought the war. They say the Igbos were marginalized, right? They fought the war, they lost. Today, they are the most industrious people in the country today. They are the richest Nigerians in the country today. One of the most educated people in Nigeria today. Yet they feel marginalized. If you compare the Igbo man to the other sections of the society, you would say the Igbos are very privileged because of what they have. Yet a generation of Igbos say they are marginalized and they want to secede. And they want a nation. Well, yes, a young generation of people who have never seen bloodshed, war, destruction, people being killed, amputated, families being divided, sure they can think like that. But what have we done as a nation to educate them about the destruction of war? Absolutely nothing. We do not teach this in our history books. We do not tell our children what war is all about. It's easy to talk about war. How many people have carried a gun, an AK-47? A machine gun, a machete? How many people have carried a gun? How many people have used a gun? How many people have fired a shot? How many people? Those who talk about war, those who talk about bloodshed, those who talk about confusion have never carried a gun. So how do they know how people die? Have they seen blood? And yet here we are debating a subject that we as a nation should understand. The educational system does not teach it, and our people do not understand it, and the federal government of Nigeria do not recognize it. And so my position is different. If the federal government do not recognize a fundamental problem in our educational system, a fundamental problem on how television is viewed across the country, then we have a fundamental problem. And we must address the problem at the source. What is the problem? We are the problem. It could be Biafra today, it could be South-South tomorrow, it could be North-East the other day. It doesn't matter. The problem is we are not addressing the problem that unites or divides us, and this must be addressed. Our educational system is one of the worst I've ever seen anywhere in the world. It is terrible. Our policy on information makes no sense whatsoever, and here we are talking about an impending crisis. A lot of people forget. I don't know. I'll be quick. How many people remember December 31st, 1983, when there was a military coup? A lot of people forget. I was in the office of Punch newspaper, Oluwabodere. I did not know he was dying of cancer. But there he said to me, Nigeria must change, and he will do whatever it took to bring down the Shagari administration. He did an editorial 3-4 days before the military coup. Front page, back page, inside front page. Within 3 days, the military struck and democracy ended. But the people of this country who do not pay attention to history, who do not read, who do not watch television, and to the government who pretend to be deaf and dumb.
Yeah, Mike.
Pay attention. The government should pay attention to the least of us. They should pay attention to history. There is a way out, but to pretend And when you erase Bito Biafra from the map, nobody has a right to erase the name Bito Biafra from the map. If it's Bito Biafra, put it back on the map. You have no right to take Bito Biafra off the map, put it back on the map, and let's fix our problem.
Part of the things the Gowon did to cause more death in the Igbo land was to take all the money deposited in the bank by the Igbos, all our money, and gave us only 20 pounds. Whether you have 200,000 pounds or 200 million or the federal government of Nigeria took it away as long as it is owned by the Igbo man. He took them away and was using that money to fight us. What does that tell you? If it were today's world, what they did in the South was genocide. It wasn't a war. Because the Biafran soldiers were giving them hell at the battleground. Instead of them to battle them, they went after the civilians. Innocent civilians, women and children. That was why the casualty was so high on Igbo land. They left the real soldiers who were fighting them in the bush. Because they couldn't match the Biafran soldiers, they now vent their anger on innocent Igbo civilians, women and children. That was why there was very casualty.
In the course of a war, is that acceptable? Even though we know that they said all is fair in war. But no, is that action acceptable?
That's why we are complaining. Yes, that's why we are. It's not fair. Under the Geneva Convention, you are not supposed to do that.
Okay.
Go and look at the recorded history of what happened. Women and children who were hiding in a church in somewhere in Onitsha, they slaughtered all of them. Frederick Forsyth said at least over 300 people that he saw. The
Nigerian military did
that. Yes, slaughtered all of them. And even Benjamin Adekunle, the Black Scorpion, he was boasting on how he was cutting down women and children in Igbo land. He was boasting. No, is that what you call a war? You are fighting armless women and children.
So, Barrister, why didn't that reintegration process and re-radicalization process
it's going on with terrorists
in Nigeria?
Yes, exactly.
It's happening with Boko Haram terrorists. They are de-radicalizing them, disarming them, and reintegrating them back into the society. And we've seen in all history of wars, like Rwandan genocide, like I cited, there was that program. It took place for peace and unity to be able to reign. Looks like it's some kind of closure for the people who suffered in that crisis. Why didn't that happen in Nigeria?
No, you should be asking Gowon. Position to do that, but he did not. He did not. So what is he telling me now? This is a man who would have taken care to heal the wound, but he did not. Now he's telling us it was necessary. It was not necessary. On what ground?
Why didn't anybody, even in democratic system, when former President Olusegun Obasanjo came in 1999, Jonathan was there, Buhari was there, even the current president now, why haven't any head of state or any president taken any action for that?
Because of what? Propaganda, disinformation. Promise, since that war happened, it had been recorded through propaganda that the Igbos started a civil war, that we wanted to disintegrate Nigeria.
Until IBB's...
Good, until IBB wrote a book. You can see what we're talking about. So, shame is on them now, including Gowon. This thing you are telling me now, Gowon have not deemed it fit to discuss what is going on in Plateau and Benue as of today. His own state, Plateau. He has not told us what happened. Why are they killing them in that state now? His own perish. And you kept quiet, and you expect them to keep quiet. That was exactly what happened. Exactly what this is the same modus operandi. But because these people have tolerated, either they don't have the liver to fight or whatever.
Talk and about he's from Plateau State. They also say things like him not being able to speak up or say something, about it. Perhaps he's just a 91-year-old man.
Before he got to this age, things were happening in this country that he never talked. That thing in Plateau, did it start today? How many years? Remember when Obasanjo imposed the state of emergency in that state? Was Gowon not around that time? He cannot talk.
Let's still talk about
he cannot talk. That's why God is not listening to his prayer. Shebi he said he's praying for Nigeria. So what's the outcome of the prayer? How can God listen to a prayer of a man who pretend as if he didn't see evil?
First, our God is a merciful God. He listens to everybody. Yes, irrespective of people's perspective about.
But they said heaven help those who help themselves. So,
my dear people, I don't just want to talk in this video. Oh yes, but don't worry.
Alright guys, thank you for staying to the end of this video. This is an indication that this Biafra matter, e no go fit go like that as Nigerian government thought. So now here I go drop am, abeg share your thoughts below the comment section. Share this video, make it go viral. Thank you. See you in my next video. Bye for now. Biafra.